Some games scare you with monsters. Silent Hill scares you with memories you thought you buried. In the school, there's a bathroom where some little girl's crying. It's not really eerie or stylized. It's just awful, ugly, and loud enough to feel real. There's no one in the bathroom, but somehow it still hurts. You don't really even know why. That's the kind of game this is. It doesn't chase you really, it doesn't scream. It just finds something quiet in your chest and stays there. And the longer you're in it, the more it feels like this place knows you, knows what you've lost, and what you're scared you'll never get back. So this isn't just going to be a recap or a breakdown. It's a look at what Silent Hill means, what it says through its design, through its emptiness, and through the trauma that lingers in the streets, in the hallways. We're going to dig into what the town does to you, and why it feels like abandonment, why it feels like grief, and why it still hurts. But before we step into this fog-covered town, let's step back for a second. Silent Hill came out in 1999, back when most horror games were still trying to be like Resident Evil. But this one wasn't real action-heavy or trying to be cool. It wanted you to hurt. It wasn't about survival so much, it was about suffering. And from the moment you take control, you start to feel it. It starts the way a lot of real nightmares do. You're in the car with your daughter, the road's quiet, and then something steps out in front of you. When Harry Mason wakes up, the crash has already happened. The door's open and Cheryl's gone. There's no blood, no screams, just absence. And it's that kind of silence, the kind that only happens when something's deeply wrong. That sets the tone for everything that follows. What you're chasing isn't your daughter. It's the last second before your life split in half. And when you see her shadow in the distance, you follow. Of course you do. That's when the game stops feeling like a game. The alley you're led into, it's not designed to scare you, it's built to sink you. The light dies, the air changes, and there, twisted in chains and hung up like a warning, is the first body. Not the first enemy, not some monster to shoot at, a body. What kind of place makes that your welcome? And then you're not running anymore, you're helpless, surrounded, overwhelmed, and there's nothing you can do but fall. Because this isn't a fight, it's a message. You're not safe here, and you're not getting out unchanged. This intro isn't just about setting the stage, it's about forcing you into a state of powerlessness. You don't get a gun, you don't get a choice. You're pulled in by love and punished for it. The second Harry sees Cheryl's silhouette, he runs straight into it, straight into the dark. That tells you everything you need to know about who he is. He doesn't wait, he doesn't think twice. He follows her because she's all he has. And what's waiting for him isn't answers. It's decay, it's rust, it's a corpse on a fence. It's the message that this town hurts people who love. When you're ambushed in that alley, you don't get to win. You're brought to your knees immediately. Not because you did something wrong, but because this place knows where you're weakest. It knows what your daughter means to you, and it'll use that against you again and again. The meaning here isn't complicated. It's cruel. This is a town that sees pain as a doorway, and it just opened it. Harry wakes up inside a diner, confused, unsteady, and no closer to finding Cheryl. But now he's not alone. There's someone else here, a cop named Cybil, from a nearby town. She doesn't seem panicked, but something's not right. She knows it, and even though she warns Harry not to go back outside, he's already decided. He doesn't ask her to come with him. He doesn't wait for backup. He just takes the gun she hands him and leaves. There's something tragic in that moment, because the first time we saw Harry, he didn't have a weapon. He had a daughter. And now he's trading safety for survival. That's what this town does. It strips you of things that make you human and gives you tools to hurt back, whether you want them or not. When Cybil gives Harry the handgun, it marks this shift. It's no longer a father searching. He's a man preparing to survive. It's not empowerment, it's a loss of innocence. That's a core theme. Silent Hill forces people to survive in ways that change them. Harry goes to step outside, and the silence isn't quiet anymore. It's listening. The fog isn't just thick, it's hiding something. And then it happens. The static. That awful noise. And for the first time, it's not an hallucination. It's a warning. Right before something crashes through the window. This is how Silent Hill escalates. Not with set pieces, not with jump scares, but with the feeling that you've crossed a threshold you can't walk back through. The town isn't empty anymore. There are things out here, and every corner holds the possibility of violence. What used to be streets are now corridors. What used to be signs are now symbols. And Harry, he doesn't navigate any of it like a hero. He just keeps moving, panicked but determined. He retraces his steps and finds the alley again, and this time it's crawling. Not just with monsters, but with reminders of how fast things fell apart. You don't find Cheryl in that alley. You find a note, a child's note, telling you where to go next. It just says, "To school." It's not a breadcrumb, it's a scream, because kids don't write notes like that unless something's horribly wrong. And Harry, he doesn't question it. He takes it like gospel, because when your world's falling apart, even the smallest sign of your child feels like a map home. And there's a few things here, the radio and the static. It's not just a gameplay mechanic, it's a representation of emotional anticipation. The noise before the threat, it's panic before clarity, it warns you, but it also traps you in dread. And Harry retracing his steps going back to the alley, again, it's not just a mechanical, it's psychological. Harry is looking for something that made sense, even if that thing was horrible. It shows how trauma pulls us into loops. You go back hoping the outcome will be different, but it never is. And Cheryl's note, the message to school. It's chilling because it's a child's way of guiding an adult through a nightmare. That inversion, the child leading the parent, implies a deep role reversal, one that will fully unravel as the story progresses, but for now, it's a subtle crack in reality. The deeper you go into Silent Hill, the more it strips away your sense of place. Nothing connects. Roads end in cliffs. Streets that should loop around just don't. So when Harry finds clues, the fairy tale keys named after the lion, scarecrow, and woodman, he follows them, not because they make sense, but because they're something. And in a town where nothing answers back, something is enough. You walk past the same houses again and again, check porches for health drinks, find bullets in mailboxes. It stops feeling like exploration and starts to feel like scavenging just to survive. And when you finally get inside that house and use the keys, that's when the lights leave. Not just in the world, but in the tone of everything. Up until now, it's just been fog, but now it's also dark. From this point forward, it doesn't feel like the sun comes back up. It's not just a light shift, it's a statement. This place wants you lost. Cheryl's message said to school, so that's where we go. But by the time you reach the school, Midwich Elementary, something's already changed in you. You're not searching with hope anymore, you're just searching. Right away, the place feels off. It's quiet, and the layout is confusing in a way that doesn't feel like a normal school design. The front lobby has a map, which helps, but even with it, the building is easy to get turned around in. Most of the rooms are locked, and the ones that aren't usually hold something strange. Bloody notes in the office, enemies that look like twisted children roaming the halls, and puzzles that fill out a place in a school, like melting a statue's hand with chemicals to get a medallion, or solving a riddle through a broken piano. The courtyard connects both wings of the building, and it's here where you place the medallions to progress. It starts to feel more like a ritual than a rescue mission. You're not just exploring, you're being tested. And through it all, Harry doesn't talk much. He just keeps moving, solving what's in front of him. Because he has to. There's no sign of Cheryl, but the deeper he gets, the worse everything feels. Even though nothing fully breaks reality yet, it's already clear this place isn't normal. The fear here builds slowly, and once you open the clock tower door and climb down, that's when everything really changes.
Have I been here before?
Something's wrong the second Harry steps out of that ladder. The lighting's completely gone. The courtyard's not just darker, it feels sick. There's a red symbol in the ground, and the school itself, it hasn't just changed, it's been taken over. This is the first time Silent Hill fully slips into what we call the Otherworld. It's not just a creepier skin on top of the map, it's a total collapse of reality. The layout is almost the same, but everything's rusted, bloodstained, and warped. Rooms are sealed, logic breaks down. The building feels infected, like it's been restructured by something hateful. And what's worse is that Harry doesn't say a word, no reaction to the sudden blood, or the mutilated monsters, or even the corpses hanging in some areas. He just keeps moving, and that silence, that numbness, makes it feel even more disturbing. The Otherworld isn't a twist, it's a warning. This is not a normal horror game. It's the moment where you start to realize we're not just exploring a haunted town, we're walking through somebody's trauma, and it's only going to get worse from here. So Midwich Elementary School isn't just a creepy backdrop. It's the first test chamber of Silent Hill's real language, trauma, guilt, and repression, and how those things warp reality. You can feel it without needing it spelled out, but once you know the context, the pieces kind of snap into place. The childlike enemies, often called gray children, they aren't random. They look like distorted versions of children because they're tied to a child's pain, specifically Alessa's. She was a student here. She was bullied, isolated, and probably abused. And that trauma doesn't just linger, it reshapes the entire building. So when you walk these halls, you're not just going through a haunted school. You're moving through a memory that rotted from the inside out. The lockers rattle, the map becomes harder to read. The music room requires you to solve a poem about dying birds. It's not random, it's personal. Everything is warped by the emotional residue of a child who is hurt here, and it's all focused inward, like the world is folding itself around that one memory until it collapses. The first version of the school still plays by the rules. It's institutional, clean, almost sterile, but cold, lifeless. The kind of place where something bad could happen, but it hasn't yet. When you transition to the Otherworld, it's like opening the lid on that feeling. Suddenly the pain's not hiding anymore, it's running the place. The bathroom becomes a portal into a perfect metaphor. You enter a private, shame-filled place and come out somewhere else. Like trauma taking you to a different version of reality. And the phone call from Cheryl that cuts out mid-sentence. That's not just horror, it's weaponized helplessness. You're chasing a daughter, but the world keeps dangling her just out of reach, using her voice to keep you moving forward. This section teaches you that Silent Hill isn't about saving Cheryl, it's about confronting something bigger than Harry. You're not the center of this world, you're a trespasser in someone else's pain. The first boss in the game is a giant lizard. The fight is more than just a change in pace, it's the first real big shift in tone. Up until now, Silent Hill has been unsettling, but it's still playing by survival horror rules to a point. The school changed that, and the lizard is the moment that shift becomes undeniable. It's not just a boss, it's a manifestation, a test, and a clue. Early in the alternate school, you find a short story. It's about a knight who gets eaten whole by a lizard, only to cut his way out from the inside. That isn't just a random fairy tale, it's a blueprint. The only way to kill it is to wait for it to open its mouth and then fire directly into it. If you try to fight it head on, you'll end up getting eaten. That's not just gameplay design, it's thematic direction. The game is quietly teaching you that knowledge matters here, that meaning is layered in everything, and if you don't pay attention, you'll miss the only way out. The school's already been showing us corrupted innocence, twisted childlike enemies, warped classrooms, nursery logic filtered through trauma. And now we get this thing, a monster that doesn't strike like a beast. It bumps you gently at first, almost like it's testing you, and then suddenly it turns predatory. Its mouth opens and it can be an insta-kill. There's something about that transformation that hits different. It's not just a creature turning violent, it's a metaphor for trust being betrayed, for hidden threats, for that moment when something you thought was harmless reveals itself, and it's too late to run. And placed here, at the end of a sequence built around distorted school life and absent children. That feels intentional. This isn't just about fear, it's about what fear looks like through a child's eyes. Something oversized, looming, and impossible to predict. Something that pretends to be part of your world until it decides not to be. That's the real lesson of this fight. The lizard isn't just the boss of the school, it's a signal. A message from this point forward, this town will hurt you in ways that mean something. The horror here isn't random, it's calculated. It knows where to press, and it's just getting started. The school is where Silent Hill stops playing nice. And if you're still here with me, and you probably care as much about these stories as I do, so if you're not already subscribed, consider it. I've got a whole vault full of games like this, ones that meant something, got lost in time, and deserve to be remembered. So after the fight with the lizard, Harry wakes up alone in the boiler room. The school's twisted version is gone. There's no more static or creatures. Just quiet halls and daylight. It's disorienting, but almost peaceful. This brief return to the streets feels like a moment to catch your breath. It's a rare stretch of Silent Hill where this town isn't actively fighting back. You're free to explore some, scavenge supplies, and push towards the church. The only real lead you've got. The pacing here is important. Silent Hill doesn't rush you from one scare to the next. It lets things cool just long enough for the dread to rebuild naturally. You find keys, open back doors, hear that haunting church bell. The feeling is still wrong, it's just quieter. And along the way you meet Dalia Gillespie for the first time, a character who seems to know more than she let on. She gives you an item called the flowers, and points you toward the hospital. Then, just like that, she vanishes. From here, your path leads across the drawbridge into a shopping district. New enemies start to show up. They're faster and more aggressive. There's less fog and a bit more space, but somehow it feels worse. That creeping sense of isolation, it never really leaves you. It just hides under the surface until it's ready to hit again. We're out of the dark, but we're just in a different kind of quiet now. Once we get to the hospital, it doesn't scream at you. It just sits there, quiet and motionless. like the life got drained out a long time ago. You can feel that weight the moment you walk in. It's not trying to scare you, it just exists. Cold, steel, and wrong. You hear a gunshot down the hall, but it doesn't feel urgent, just distant. Tired, you find a man sitting alone with a pistol. There's some blood at his feet, and he points the gun up towards you, but he doesn't directly aim at you. He just fires. Like it's all he can do to feel something. He introduces himself as Dr. Kaufman, says he works here, and says the town was already like this when he woke up. Harry tries to explain what's happening, but it's like Kaufman doesn't want to hear it. He offers a few words, then walks out, like this has already gone too far for conversation.
She died 4 years ago. Now it's just me and my daughter.
You move through the halls looking for something, anything, that might help. You find the map, the first aid kits, and a few locked doors. Most of it feels empty though, but not in a haunted way, just hollow. Like this place used to matter to people, and now it doesn't. Eventually, you find your way to the basement. There's no build-up or music, just a key, a stairwell, and a growing sense that you're getting closer to something you're not supposed to see. The power's out, so you fix it. The elevator lights up, and you try the second floor, the doors are locked. You try the third floor, and the doors are locked. Then the panel changes. There's a new button that appears, a fourth floor. No noise or explanation, just that new choice, quiet and waiting for you. Something shifts when you reach the fourth floor. There's no reason it should exist. There's no record of it, no mention. Just a floor that wasn't there before. And yet, here you are. Every door is jammed. Every hallway is dead ends. You're being funneled, not through space, but through emotion. It's claustrophobic, but not in the physical sense. It's like the game is closing in on you mentally. As you move floor to floor, you're not searching anymore, you're enduring. Every hallway starts to feel like a loop. Every locked door chips away at your will. There's a weight to it, a pressure. The deeper you go, the more you realize this isn't about finding Cheryl anymore. Not really, this is about whether Harry can hold himself together long enough to matter to her at all. You find strange puzzle pieces and rooms that feel lived in but lifeless, like something awful just left. You try to make sense of them, to organize the chaos, but the patterns don't really comfort, they isolate. They remind you that someone else designed the place, not for healing, but for control. And just when it starts to feel unbearable, you hit the sub-basement. It's hidden behind a wall, it's covered in vines, almost like something didn't want you to find it. You burn your way through anyways, because at this point, burning might be all you have left. What you find isn't just darkness, it's occupation. A space that's supposed to be abandoned, but clearly isn't. Beds are used, items are placed, a videotape left behind, with a name that keeps coming up, Alessa. And then Lisa. She's the first person who doesn't feel like a ghost. She's scared, confused, and still holding on to the idea that this is a hospital and not a trap. But when Harry mentions the basement, something in her shifts. She wasn't allowed to go down there. None of them were. You can feel it. She knows more than she's letting on. Or maybe she doesn't want you to know. Maybe denial is all that's keeping her sane.
No. Why? Is there something down there?
And then, just like after the school, it happens again. Harry collapses. The world flickers, time blinks. When he wakes up, it's not just Lisa standing over him. It's her. Dalia Gillespie, the woman from the church, and this time, she speaks plainly. She says an evil is consuming the town, that the mark that Harry saw in the schoolyard wasn't random, it's the seal of Samael, and it's spreading. But here's the thing, none of it feels like help, none of it feels like truth, it's another riddle, another symbol, another adult with answers who won't share them. Lisa doesn't know what's happening, and Dalia pretends she does, and Harry left right in the middle of it, again, tired, disoriented, and still no closer to Cheryl.
Have you not seen the crest marked on the ground all over town?
So the stretch of the hospital, it's psychological erosion. The fourth floor doesn't exist on the map. It's undocumented, unnamed, and unreachable by any logic. But it's there, and every door is jammed. Every hallway ends in nothing. It's a metaphor for searching and trauma. It's frantically trying every door in your mind, hoping one will take you somewhere that makes sense, but none of them open. It's liminal horror. You're moving, but going nowhere. Time's passing, but nothing's changing. The floor is a void pretending to be part of the hospital, a decoy for sanity. It's like being trapped in a waiting room where no one ever calls your name. The puzzle pieces scattered across the hospital, plates named after animals and royalty, feel disconnected at first, but they're placeholders, archetypes. They stand in for people, roles, and identities, and you're slotting them into a system you don't understand, just to open another door that probably shouldn't be opened. There's no real reward, just another hallway. It mirrors real trauma recovery. You don't get the big revelation all at once. You get fragments, symbols, pieces that might mean something later, so you carry them. Even the act of burning away the vines with medical tools, it's symbolic. You're using healing items to force your way deeper into rot. It's backwards, but it works. That's the Silent Hill way. By the time you're in the sub-basement, you've gone below even the forgotten parts of the hospital. You're under the foundation, literally and metaphorically. And what's waiting there isn't a monster, it's memory. And Lisa Garland is the most emotional human character we've met so far. She's scared. She doesn't pretend to know what's happening. She's not hiding behind puzzles or riddles, and that honestly hits like a gut punch. She's also trapped, not just physically, but mentally. She says the basement was off limits, that they were told to never go there, and they listened. That line alone is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It speaks to Silent Hill's core idea. People obeying rules they never understood. Systems they never questioned. Pain they learned to ignore because it was normal. Lisa represents the real-world victims buried under institutions like this hospital. Women in abusive systems, staff forced to look the other way. People silenced by fear, hierarchy, or trauma. She's a nurse, but she's powerless. And what makes it worse is she wants to help. You can feel it in her voice. But the moment she starts to show vulnerability, Harry collapses. Just like in the school, every time emotional truth gets too close, he blacks out. It's the game's way of showing us how hard it is to face reality, how even moments of connection can get swallowed up by denial, repression, and supernatural force.
I must have gotten knocked out. When I came to, everyone was gone.
Then Dalia shows up, and her words are like poison wrapped in prophecy, the mark of Samael, evil devouring the town. It's the first time the game says out loud that there's something bigger here, not just creatures or fog, but a kind of systematic rot, a belief, a ritual, something that was invited. And the kicker is, it was already there. You saw the mark in the school, on the floor. You just didn't know what it meant then. Now it's starting to click. That's trauma too. Something you didn't understand at the time coming back later with a new meaning. And the nurses aren't just enemies, they're a reflection of how care can become corrupted. They look like nurses, but they don't help, they don't heal, they hurt. And it's not subtle. These are the people you trust when you're vulnerable, when your body's failing, when you're not in control, and Silent Hill twists that trust into something weaponized. In the universe, this hospital has a history. It's where Alessa was kept, not treated. Kept. And the nurses, in that context, stop being random monsters. They're echoes of what this place did to her. The pain, the isolation, the routines of care that were actually routines of control. They aren't nurses, they're jailers and scrubs. The way they move matters too. There's something off in the way they lurch or stand idle, twitching, like they're trapped in their roles. Still doing the job long after their soul's gone. Still performing care without compassion. It's mechanical, detached, like a system that no longer remembers why it exists. And that's what makes them so terrifying. They're not just enemies in a hospital, they are the hospital. They are the structure, the staff, the repetition, the institution that kept Alessa alive but never helped her live. The very place that was supposed to protect her ended up sustaining her pain. And how Harry's walking through that same system, fighting it, trying to cut through a cycle that punishes vulnerability instead of responding to it. Every nurse that turns hostile isn't just a creature. It's another reminder you're not safe here. Help isn't coming. And the people who were supposed to be there for you have either turned their backs or become part of the problem. Leaving the hospital should have felt like relief, but it doesn't. We're not escaping, we're circling. And whatever this town wants us to see, it's not even close to being finished yet. The next lead takes us north to an old antique shop Dalia pointed us towards. On the surface, it's nothing, just a forgotten storefront on an empty street. But inside, something's waiting. Not just behind a wall, but beneath everything. And Cybil's already there, still searching for logic in a place that stopped following rules the moment we arrived. She talks about drugs, trafficking, and corruption. Anything that could make this make sense, but even she admits it doesn't add up. And she seems to know that we're dealing with something much bigger.
Things are worse than I thought. It's nuts.
Then the back room opens up. It's a hidden space, a ritual altar, and just like that, the static returns. Flames, blinding, angry, and sudden. And we're pulled out again, back in the hospital, and back with Lisa. But now she remembers something she shouldn't. Dalia, a fire, a little girl who died, or didn't. There's something about Lisa's fear that feels too raw to be acted. She knows she's not supposed to know these things. She knows she's not supposed to be here. The conversation unravels fast. Lisa's voice trembles and she's scared. Not of what's happening outside, but of what she's starting to remember about herself. And then we wake up again, alone. This is the point where the pattern becomes the threat. Silent Hill isn't just trapping us, it's folding time, identity, and memory. We're not just caught in a nightmare, we're being told a story, and we don't have all the pieces yet. When we wake up, there's something different. The hospital's behind us, but the nightmares followed us out. For the first time, we're not inside a building. The entire town has changed. This isn't fog anymore. It's rust, chains, and grime. Like the town's real skin is finally showing. We're pulled toward the Silent Hill town center, a place that used to be a symbol of normal life. Stores, escalators, shopping music. But now it's twisted, dead quiet, and broken walls and red-stained lights.
Daddy, help me. Where are you?
Cheryl!
Upstairs, a brief moment of stillness is shattered when the floor collapses, dragging us into a fight with something that just shouldn't exist. A writhing larva-like thing that moves like it's never seen sunlight. It doesn't look like a monster, it looks like something born from rot. After we defeat it, the beast uses its final breath to smash through a glass wall. The symbolism's blunt. Violence is the only way forward in this place. We pass through the wreckage, and with nowhere else to go, we stop at the police station. It's empty, just shells, paperwork, and silence. The idea is that anyone might have enforced law here. It feels laughable now. Eventually, we find our way back to the hospital. Not the one we left, the alternate one. Again, Lisa's there. And this time she wants to come with us, but she can't. She doesn't know why, and neither do we. But the way she says it, there's something off, like part of her already knows she doesn't belong outside these walls.
This may not be the safest place in the world either. I can't promise you anything, but I'll do my best to protect you.
No. Somehow I feel I'm not supposed to leave this place.
We leave her behind and head to a roof, and meet the moth. It's an echo of the last boss, only now it flies. It has similar patterns, but it feels like a new threat, and more like an evolution. The world is adapting to us, following us, and changing shape as we move. We're nearly at the halfway point, but the pattern is clear. Every step forward comes at a cost, and this town isn't giving us a clean exit. And there's a few things we can hit in this section. This is the first time the Otherworld spills out into the streets. Up till now, it's always been something Harry stepped into. Something tied to buildings, contained, but not anymore. Now the entire town is twisted. The nightmare isn't creeping in, it's taking over. And that shift says something loud. This isn't a series of strange events anymore, it's total. The world has changed. The symbolism's clear but heavy. The town being consumed means the trauma isn't something Harry is visiting anymore. It's something he's in, fully. No more safe spaces, no more normal to go back to. This is his world now. And you can feel that in the way that the game treats your movement. The map stops helping, streets don't lead where they should, and doors aren't where they were. It's like your memory's falling apart, like the town is changing itself to keep you disoriented. That breakdown of logic, that's what trauma does. It pulls the floor out from under you. What used to make sense doesn't anymore, so you stop navigating by direction and start moving by instinct. And the mall that we went to, one of the most grounded, everyday places you could think of. Familiar, social, a routine stop in an ordinary life, but now it's cold, twisted, and empty. It doesn't feel like a ruin, it feels wrong. The kind of wrong that tells you even the most stable parts of Harry's world aren't safe anymore. That's the point. The mall should represent normalcy, structure, and comfort, something to anchor to. But here it's stripped of that. The lights are dim, the walls are cracked, there's no music or buzz of life, just the sound of your own footsteps echoing in a place that used to mean something else. It's another layer of the trauma taking hold. When pain rewires your brain, even the safe places stop feeling safe. Familiarity gets replaced with dread. And that's what the area captures. It's not just horror, but the loss of normal. And the larva boss, it isn't some gothic monster or ritual demon. It's something else, something organic. It burrows, it waits. Then it strikes with no warning, dragging Harry down into a fight he never chose. There's no ceremony here, it's just panic, poison, and instinct. It's not about carnage, it's about surviving the moment. That's the real message. This thing doesn't feel like a final boss or a villain. It feels like a symptom, a larva. Something that's been growing just out of sight, festering and waiting. It's the part of trauma you don't talk about, the kind that catches you off guard and pulls you under before you can make sense of it. You don't beat it for closure, you beat it to keep moving. That's the cycle Silent Hill keeps pushing. Pain doesn't resolve. It just clears the way for what comes next. Nothing is fixed, you just go deeper. And the police station that we went to, it's supposed to be a place of safety, a last resort. Somewhere that brings order to the chaos, but when Harry walks in, it's empty, dead, no signs of help, just a few bullets on the counter. That silence says everything. The police didn't protect anyone. Whatever happened in this town, the authority couldn't stop it. Maybe it didn't even try. Silent Hill doesn't just isolate you, it strips away every system you thought you could count on. Parents, hospitals, religion, police. All of it's hollow now. And what do you get instead? Ammo, a message in itself. Nobody's coming to save you. All you can do is endure it. And when we met Lisa again, the scene isn't about exposition, it's about heartbreak. Lisa's terrified, disoriented, and starting to lose pieces of herself. She wants to leave with Harry, begs him not to go. But even she knows something's wrong. Her voice trembles and her memory's slipping. It's like she's aware she's not fully real, and that knowledge is destroying her. This isn't just supernatural, it's emotional. Lisa feels like someone caught in a trauma loop, desperate to move forward, but anchored by something she can't name. She wants help, but deep down, she knows she's already lost. And what makes this moment hit harder is how it mirrors Harry. If he stays here, if he lets the grief, confusion, or fear take over, he ends up like her, trapped, alone, and fading. She's not just a character, she's a warning. And the last bit in this section of the game is the moth. This fight happens high above the town, on a rooftop, out in the open. For a second, it almost feels like progress, like maybe we're rising above it all. But what's waiting up there isn't freedom, it's decay with wings. The thing floats in circles, poisons the air. It's slow, deliberate, less like a beast and more like inevitability. Moths are drawn to light. This one's corrupted. It chases the same instinct, but all it brings is death. And even up here, where there should be a space to breathe, it feels tight, trapped, because the nightmare doesn't care where you are, it follows. This isn't a climax, it's a trick. Just because you're above the ground doesn't mean you're safe, and this fight makes you feel that. Harry finds himself deep underground now, literally beneath the town's surface, in the sewers. There's no signs, no people, just rust, water, and rot. The world feels like it's growing darker from the inside out, and this time, the fear isn't theatrical, it's physical. Then these things show up, hanged scratchers. Even the name sounds pretty violent. They're twisted, they move like lizards, but bite like something half-dead and feral. Their arms swing wildly, and their bodies contort unnaturally. You can't always see them coming. They scrape against the walls, they hang, and they lurk. These things aren't ghosts, they're not illusions or metaphors in plain sight. They're something lower, something feral, born of wet decay and left to mutate in isolation. Symbolically, they're rot-given form. They represent the pain that no one talks about, the kind that gets buried, that festers in silence, that grows limbs and lashes out in the moment it senses light. And the sewers are the perfect place for them, because this stretch of the game feels like what they are, confusing, dirty, and hard to breathe in. There's no clear logic, no clean path, just gates and tunnels and the threat of something scraping just out of view. These things don't scream, they scratch. This part of the game isn't about shock, it's about exhaustion. You're not fighting to understand anymore, you're just trying to make it out to the other side. Right after the sewers, you land in a part of town that feels a little different. You don't immediately find the map, and there's not much direction, and it's easy to just move on to the next story objective. But if you take a minute to look around, there's something here worth following. Inside a rundown bar, Harry finds Dr. Kaufman, struggling with a monster. He steps in and saves his life, and for a second, it seems like he's finally found another survivor who might actually help. But Kaufman plays it cool. He brushes off any questions, claims he doesn't know Alessa, and walks away like none of this is his problem. That's where you can start an optional side quest. It's quiet and without fanfare, but if you dig into the clues he leaves behind, you start uncovering things the main story never directly tells you. There's a receipt, a locked storefront, and a hidden safe, a motel room. It all points back to Kaufman and the drug trade that once plagued Silent Hill. At the end of the trail, Harry finds a vial of red liquid. That's when Kaufman shows up again, and he's angry, not scared or grateful, just angry. He takes the vial and tells Harry to stop getting involved. He leaves with no explanation, no denial.
How about coming up with a way to get out of here? You shouldn't be hanging around here goofing off. What do you think you're doing?
That moment tells you everything. Kaufman isn't lost. He isn't innocent. He's someone who helped build this place, and now that it's all come apart, he's trying to walk away clean. And you can skip all of this and still reach the end of the game, but if you skip it, you miss a huge piece of what Silent Hill is really about. And there is some meaning behind this. He hides behind keys, safes, and locked doors. Like everything he's done can be buried or locked away. Every clue in this side quest is sealed off, hidden behind a code or tucked out of sight. He reflects how long he's been covering for himself, how practiced he is at keeping things quiet. The motel, the drugs, the red liquid, it's not just world building, it's the root of rot beneath Silent Hill. And Kaufman isn't some unlucky bystander who got caught up in it. He helped feed it. That red liquid isn't mystical to him, it's inventory, a tool he used before. So when he walks in and snatches the vial back, he's not trying to stop some nightmare. He's just cleaning up, tying off a loose end before it points back to him. Silent Hill doesn't need to scream that he's guilty. It just quietly shows you. Here's a man who had power, who knew what was going on and did nothing to stop it, because it served him. Moving on, the fog's been replaced with darkness again, broken streets, and the path winds us toward the lake. The world feels thinner here, less real, more unstable. It's like the rules are starting to give out. We're funneled towards a houseboat, and inside we finally run into Cybil again. She made it through the sewers on her own, and she's holding it together, but there's tension in her voice. Harry tries to explain everything, the darkness spreading through the town, the mark being drawn across it, and Cheryl being deeper inside. That's when Dalia shows up. Her tone is urgent but vague, talking about a demon in the form of a child, the completion of a ritual, and two final locations, the lighthouse and the amusement park.
The dead will walk and martyrs will burn in the fires of hell. Everyone will die.
She sends Harry to the lighthouse, and Cybil says that she'll head to the park. But there's something off here. Dalia mentions using the florist to stop what's coming, but only Harry has one. Cybil doesn't. And no one brings it up, it just hangs there. We pick up supplies and head out, pushing toward the lighthouse. The streets here are stretched out and barely holding together, like the town's structure is collapsing in real time. Eventually we reach the lighthouse and climb, but we're too late. The mark is already there, the girl has already been through, and there's nothing left to stop here. Only the realization that we're running behind and still chasing shadows. We're suddenly pulled back to the boat and Cybil's no longer there. All we can do is follow her path and hope we're not too late again.
Sure to show up at the amusement park pretty soon. Let me be on time.
Harry makes his way to the amusement park, and there's no map here, no direction, just cold steel and a sky that never ends. By this point, nothing feels real anymore. The park isn't joyful or creepy, it's hollow, like something built for people who are never coming back. The sounds are muffled, the space is wide open, but it still feels like we can't breathe. We keep walking until we find it, the merry-go-round. That's where Cybil's waiting. She's not herself anymore, though. The way she moves, the way she stares at Harry. Something's taken hold. There's no warning, no conversation, just the weight of the gun in your hand and the question of how far you're willing to go. It doesn't take long. We end up killing her. And it's not triumphant, it's not heroic, it's just awful. There's no closure, no final words, no moment of connection. Just the body of someone who tried to help, twisted and discarded like the rest of this town. This is the moment where Silent Hill stops being scary and just starts to hurt even more than it ever has. Because Cybil was never supposed to make it out, and deep down we know it. The town doesn't just want to scare us, it wants to punish everyone who cared and everyone who tried to do the right thing. And right when you're at your lowest, she shows up, Alessa. There's no fear in her eyes. She knocks Harry back without touching him, but something else happens. The florist reacts, like it's been waiting for her. The light surges and she screams, and then Dalia steps out of the dark like she's been watching the whole time. She calls the girl her daughter, and just like that, it all snaps into focus. This was never about Harry, never about us. We've just been moving through someone else's plan. Dalia says it's time to go home, and they vanish. No explanation and no justice, just more pain, more silence, and the feeling that somehow it's about to get even worse.
What's going on here?
This is the second turning point that decides your ending, but it's more than just a gameplay branch. It's a test of how much danger you're willing to carry to keep going. Cybil isn't just another boss. She's someone who's been with us since the beginning. She tried to help. She believed in what we were doing, even when none of it made sense, and now the town takes her too. She's possessed, controlled, and weaponized, and we're forced to make a choice, to save her or kill her. If you didn't bring the red liquid from the hospital, you can't save her, and that's it, the option's gone. All that's left is another body. And if you do save her, if you use the liquid, it doesn't fix everything, but it does give her a chance. It says that someone doesn't have to die just because the town says so. That you're still trying to fight for people, not just survive. Cybil represents resistance. She's someone who didn't grow up here. She doesn't belong to the cult or the town's past. She's an outsider who walked into Silent Hill and chose to care. And the town hates her for it. The parasites in her body reflect what Silent Hill does to people. It burrows in, twists them, makes them part of the cycle, just like Lisa, just like Alessa. If you kill her, it reinforces the town's message. No one makes it out, not even the good ones. If you save her, you're doing something Silent Hill rarely allows, breaking the loop. Even just for one person. That little vial of red liquid becomes more than just an item. It's a symbol of defiance. That this place can't erase everyone. That even in the middle of a nightmare, mercy still matters. And the merry-go-round. The fight takes place on a carousel. It's a ride meant for children, innocence, joy, and going in circles. But here it becomes a stage for violence. It spins endlessly while you're forced to hurt someone you're trying to protect. It's a visual metaphor for the way Silent Hill traps people. Cybil goes in circles, literally and figuratively, caught in a loop that only ends when someone else intervenes. The gate locking you in with her mirrors the game's emotional trap. There's no walking away from this. You either carry the guilt or you fight for something better. But either way, you bleed for it. The whole section, start to finish, is Silent Hill showing you its final truth. No one walks out clean, but sometimes if you're prepared, if you're willing to hold on to something human, you can still pull someone out with you, even if it costs you everything. We're in the final stretch of the game now. Harry wakes up back in the hospital, but something's wrong. It's not the same place anymore. Everything's warped, the walls and the halls, the logic. There's no map this time, no grounding. Just fragments of everywhere we've already been, stitched together in a way that feels broken. Schoolrooms next to hospital rooms, or the antique shop in a random hallway. Like Silent Hill itself is collapsing in on itself, or on Harry. Lisa's there at the start. She says she went deeper, into the basement, and something about it felt familiar. Like she'd been there before, but she can't remember. And that's what terrifies her. She's unraveling, and she knows it. She walks out angry, maybe at Harry, maybe at herself. Maybe because she already knows what she's going to remember. Nowhere is a space built on memory and denial. All the rules are off. It's filled with locks that don't matter, keys named after angels, and relics ripped straight from religious texts. Pliers to pull a key from a faucet, a stone that breaks time, and a puzzle solved by lining up names and ages of people who are already long gone. None of it is about solving something real. It's about Harry going deeper into a place that doesn't want to be understood, just endured. We follow the layout, but it's more like drifting than navigating. Everything here loops back. Doors that led to safety once now lead to dead ends. Rooms warp in and out of each other. It's like being inside a dying mind, a place made of trauma with no clear way out. And just when things start to dull into numbness, Lisa comes back out. She begs Harry not to leave, says she remembers now. That she wasn't just a nurse, she was part of it. That she was kept alive with something unnatural. She's crying, bleeding, and she reaches for him. And he backs away. He closes the door on her. And just like that, she's gone. All that's left is her diary, and the final words she ever wrote was, "Need drug. Help me." There's still more to find, symbols, discs, and relics, but it's not about the items anymore. It's about the weight of carrying them. Everything you pick up here represents a piece of the cult, of Alessa, of the systems that hurt her, and we carry them all the way to her room. We see her bed, her things, her drawings, and then we open the last door. This place is called Nowhere, but it's not just the name. It's what Harry feels, what Lisa feels, what the whole town has been pushing us toward. We're not in a real place anymore. We're in a stitched-together purgatory built from memories, trauma, and denial. And the deeper we go, the more that reality breaks. This is where Silent Hill strips away pretense. There's no town anymore, no map, no illusion of normalcy. It's a fragmented mental and emotional collapse, echoes of places we've been, reshaped by guilt, ritual, and suffering. Classrooms from the school, corridors from the hospital, shop interiors from side streets, all rearranged with no logic except emotional weight. We're being pulled into someone's head, someone's pain, and it's all starting to bleed together. You feel it right away. This is what it looks like when a person, maybe Alessa or Lisa, maybe Harry himself, just can't hold on anymore. And this place responds to that. It mirrors it. Lisa's story has been unraveling in the background the entire time, but this is where it breaks open. She remembers. She knows that she wasn't just a nurse. She wasn't helping Alessa. She was part of the system that kept her trapped. Whether she chose that or had it forced on her, she can't bear it. Her breakdown is one of the most human, horrifying moments in the entire game. She's not a monster. She's just someone who wanted to forget what she did, or what was done to her. And when she cries out for Harry, when she begs not to be left alone, it's the first time the game asks us to reject someone, not because they're evil, but because they're suffering in a way we can't fix. It backs away, shuts the door, because he can't handle it either. That moment hits hard because it's not about survival, it's about helplessness. About how hard it is to look someone in the eye when they're drowning in truth of what they are. The keys and relics in Nowhere feel less like puzzles and more like burdens. They're drenched in biblical symbolism, the crest of Mercury, the Ankh, the amulet of Solomon, the disc of Ouroboros, and they're used like tools to open doors deeper into Alessa's torment. But they're also symbolic weights. Harry doesn't know what most of them mean, but we do. They represent ritual, doctrine, the manipulation of a child to serve prophecy. You can feel how much the game is pushing that religious iconography on us now. How this town twisted symbols of protection and worship into instruments of control. The dagger, a trap meant to kill him. The ring, a forced binding. Even the puzzle involving names and ages isn't just a riddle. It's a reminder that the town watches everything, ranks everything, reduces people to facts and orders and codes. And Alessa's room, it's the final image before the last act. A child's room, preserved in a space that should not exist. A bed, a diary, toys, and in the middle of all of it, her pain. This is what's been fueling the entire game. Her suffering, her longing, her mind, split in two. The hospital was never the real source. The cult wasn't the only evil. It's this. A girl's trauma so powerful that it reshaped reality. And we're standing in the center of it. Everything after this, Dalia, Cheryl, the florist, the god, it all ties back to this quiet, impossible room. A room that tells you without any dialogue that this isn't just about horror. It's about grief. This is what everything's been building to. It's not a climactic victory, but a confrontation with something ancient, inhuman, and born of suffering. If you've done everything right, this final encounter isn't against Alessa's broken body. It's against what they wanted to turn her into, a god, a vessel, Samael. It's not really a name, it's just what Dalia called it. But what we see is the town's final sin made flesh. The thing was never meant to exist, and the pain that created it, that's what lashes out. It doesn't scream, it doesn't move, it just floats, towering above you, silent and still, until it releases a storm of electricity that almost feels like punishment. Not just for Harry, but for everything that's happened here. For every person who turned their back, who justified the ritual, who believed that divine power was worth a child's life. You don't even feel like a hero in this moment, you just feel small, trapped in a nightmare that finally showed its true face. But you fight anyways, because somewhere behind that thing, behind the power and the prophecy, there's still Alessa, still Cheryl, still the reason Harry came here in the first place. He's not fighting a monster. He's fighting to stop the cycle, to put an end to what the town did to her. And when it's over, the thing doesn't die like a beast, it dissolves, quiet. Like it was never supposed to exist in the first place. That silence after the fight, that's not victory. That's what it feels like when the nightmare finally lets go. There's 5 endings for the game, and we got the good one. This was one of the ones I would consider more canon. We saved Cheryl, or at least the part of her that was still left. When the nightmare ends, it doesn't end in triumph. There's no fanfare, no grand celebration. Just the last flicker of a life that never had a chance to be whole. Alessa and Cheryl fuse together again for just a moment. Give Harry one final gift, a newborn. Not exactly a second chance, but maybe something close. He takes the baby and runs, escapes the collapsing dream, the rotting heart of the town that tried to make a god out of grief. And when the fog clears, that's what we're left with. Harry holding something new in his arms, but walking alone. Because we didn't save Cybil, and that matters. Getting the good ending means you made the right choices overall. You saw the truth. You helped Kaufman, you disrupted the cult's plan, but you didn't do everything. You didn't have the red liquid from the hospital, you couldn't stop the parasite, and so Cybil, one of the only grounded real people you meet in the entire nightmare, is gone. The game doesn't punish you for this, but it remembers, and so should we. That's what makes this ending hit harder than it might seem on the surface. You saved the future, but not the people who helped you get there. You escaped the fog, but you left something behind in it. And that's how Silent Hill works. There's always something left behind. Silent Hill isn't a place. Not exactly. It's pain. It's what we bury and what comes clawing back up. It's what we can't face until it tears the walls off our world and forces us to see ourselves. Raw, broken, cornered. The fog, the monsters, and the silence, they're all masks of something older, something human, and something true. This game doesn't scare you with cheap tricks or loud noises. It suffocates you. It traps you in a place that looks familiar but feels wrong. It turns memories into monsters. It traps you in a child's drawing of hell and then whispers, "You did this." And maybe we did. Harry comes here looking for his daughter, and that seems simple, but it's not. Because Cheryl isn't just lost, she's shattered. Torn in half before she ever had a chance to be whole. A soul cracked down in the middle, and Alessa, the girl who suffered every second of someone else's obsession, is the other half. She never got to be a child, she only ever got to burn. This isn't a story about saving someone, it's a story about what it means to lose a child, twice. And worse, what it means to realize that some losses were never yours to fix in the first place. You were just handed the wreckage and told to love it, and you did. Every woman in this game suffers because someone needed control. Let's talk about Lisa one more time. She's not just a nurse, she's a symbol. She's the one person who's kind to you in this entire descent. She just wants to understand, to be real, but she's caught in a lie. And when she remembers what they did to her, how she was drugged, used, and discarded, it destroys her. Her breakdown isn't theatrical, it's human. She's crying for help, begging for connection, and all you can do is back away. All you can do is lock the door while she falls apart behind it. Because if you stayed, you'd have to feel it too. That's the core of Silent Hill. It's not about monsters, it's about the pain we look away from. The people we leave behind because facing their truth would break us too. Cybil, she was just doing her job. She showed up and tried to help, and got twisted into something unrecognizable. And depending on your path, you're the one who kills her. Because you didn't have the tool to save her, because you didn't know. But the town doesn't care. It doesn't reward good intentions. It remembers what you failed to do. You leave Silent Hill with a baby in your arms. It's not a reward, it's not closure. It's the start of another weight to carry. That child is the last piece of a broken soul. A second chance, maybe. But you didn't fix anything, you just survived it. And that's what makes Silent Hill different. It's not about beating the monster, it's about understanding why it was there in the first place. You don't get answers, you get scars. And that's the real brilliance of it, because it's honest. It knows that trauma doesn't come with closure, that grief doesn't get boss music, that sometimes all you can do is walk out of the fog with less than what you came in with, and pray that you can love what's left. So what is Silent Hill? It's the lie that became truth. It's the innocence that got burned. It's the people we couldn't save and the ones we still carry. It's a town shaped like a wound, and everyone who enters leaves bleeding. We don't walk away from Silent Hill with triumph. We walk away changed. Because it's not a game that ends when the credits roll. It lingers, it stays with you. It's the quiet moments and the question that never fully answers. It makes you wonder who you'd be in a place like that, what guilt you'd see staring back at you. Silent Hill is clear about one thing. There's no saving anyone, not really. There's only the choice to keep going anyway. And that's what Harry does, what we do. We carry what we can, we leave what we must. And we walk into the next morning unsure of what it means, but alive. That's the truth of Silent Hill, and that's why it matters. And if you stuck around this long, thank you. This one meant a lot to me. Silent Hill 1 isn't just a classic, it's personal, and I hope this breakdown helped you see why it's still worth revisiting after all these years. And if you're new here, I do this every week, preserving lost stories, exploring forgotten games, and giving them the space they deserve. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, consider subscribing. Leave a comment, and let me know how Silent Hill hit you the first time you played it. Or if this is your first time seeing it, what stuck with you? And next week for the Oddity series, we're changing gears again. We're staying horror, but it's going to be a little weirder. But anyways, thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see y'all later.